Hello class. So for the first video for chapter 10, we discussed about the definition and the formula for WACC, and we had the case of Coleman Technologies. Based on the information we know about the firm, we tried to calculate the cost of debt and cost of preferred stock for the firm. And for the third component cost of common equity, I was encouraging you to work on your own using three ways: CAPM, constant growth model, and own bond yield plus risk premium to calculate cost of common equity. Okay. Based on the information we know about this firm in the earlier part of the notes. I hope you already figured out and have your own answer for RS without looking at the solutions. But let's look at the solutions here. So if we want to use the first method, CAPM model, to determine the cost of common equity, we can use RS, cost of common equity, equals risk-free rate plus RM minus RRF, market return minus risk-free rate. Okay, this is together called market risk premium, multiplied by beta of the firm. And it's also given in the question that risk-free rate is 7%, market risk premium is 6%, so RM minus RRF is 6%. Beta is 1.2. Okay, we can just plug the numbers into the CAPM model. The cost of common equity or the stock return, RS, would be equal to 14.2%. Okay, for the second method, the constant growth model version of the dividend discount model or discounted cash flow model, we can also determine RS, cost of common equity. Okay, the original model says P0, current stock price, equals D1, dividend at the end of the first year, over RS, cost of common equity, minus G, constant growth rate. So RS, what we're looking for here, equals D1 over P0 plus G. This new equation comes from the original model. Okay, so here we need to know what is D1, but from the question we only know D0, G, and P0. So we change D1 to D0 multiplied by 1 plus G. Okay, so it becomes 4.119 multiplied by 1 plus 5%, divided by P0, 50, plus G, 5%. Okay, so D1 becomes 4.3995, and we divide 50 plus 5%. We have 13.8% as our cost of common equity. Question: can discounted cash flow method be applied if growth is not constant? Yes, non-constant growth stocks are expected to attain constant growth at some point, generally in 5 to 10 years. May be complicated to compute. Okay, this is saying that if we don't have a constant growth rate G forever, if we are treating non-constant growth model version or two-stage model, there is still a way to calculate RS, but that's going to be much more complicated. Third method is to use bond yield plus risk premium model to determine cost of common equity. So RS, cost of common equity or stock return here, equals RD, cost of debt or bond return, plus this stock over bond risk premium. Okay, this is given by the question as 4%. Cost of debts was calculated by us. The before tax, remember we have to use the before tax cost of debt here as 10%. We're not going to use the after tax cost of debt 6%. Okay, so cost of common equity becomes the before tax cost of debts 10% plus risk premium 4%. Okay, we have 14% as cost of common equity. Remember the risk premium we use here is the stock over bond risk premium for the own firm. It is different from the market risk premium or stock risk premium in the CAPM model. Okay, these are different concepts. So you can see that we have actually 3 different results from the 3 different methods. Okay, the third method produces a ballpark estimate of RS and can serve as a useful check. What is a reasonable final estimate of RS when we have 3 methods and they have different 3 estimates, 14.2, 13.8, and 14? We can take the average, so the 14% is the average of the cost of common equity among the 3 methods. We can also see that the range is from 13.8 to 14.2, and the median or the midpoint of range is also 14%. Okay, so we can use the average or the median here, 14%, as a final estimate of cost of common equity. Okay, so in a word, we have 3 methods calculating cost of common equity, and after that, you can take the average or median as the final estimate. Practice question. We have another firm called Lennox Industries. It hires you as a consultant to help estimate its cost of capital. You have obtained the following data. Cost of debt, RD, equals yield to maturity equals 7%, and the risk premium over its own debt cost is 4%. The risk-free rate is 5%. Market risk premium, RPM, is 6%. Beta is 1.25. D1 is 1.2. P0 is 35. G is 8%. You are asked to estimate the cost of equity based on the 3 most commonly used methods, and then to indicate the difference between the highest and lowest of these estimates. What is that difference? Okay, so we have 3 groups of data here, and you can definitely tell from the first group of data, we can use the bond return plus its own stock over bond risk premium method to calculate cost of common equity. And for the second group of data, you can use CAPM to calculate cost of common equity. For the third group of data, you can use dividend discount model, constant growth model version to calculate cost of common equity. Okay, please calculate cost of common equity based on these information and take the difference between the highest and lowest of the estimates. Okay, please do not look at the answer when you're working on the question and try to figure out these on your own. And we will discuss the solutions again in the next video. So you can pause the video now and start working on these questions. And only look at the next video if you have finished this question on your own without looking at the solutions.